that apparently just shuts down whatever it wants because it does do whatever it wants. I'm Brian Noonan, I think. With me, as always, award winning podcast producer and well coiffed gentleman, Cody Gough.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, I'm going to tell people what to listen to right now or what we're going to talk about. That's what I meant.
I don't know.
Today's episode, big day, big day. Brian has been to hell and back in the last couple of weeks. We're going to talk about his trials, tribulations, travails. Your camera's backwards again to me. I don't know. The Brian Noonan behind you is just backwards, just flipped horizontally. Don't know why that happens. What else are we talking about?
I don't know.
We are going to talk about my son's first birthday. My son's first birthday was 2 years ago. So
I was going to say your son's much older than one.
I'm going to catch up with that. No, I'll talk about his third birthday. Wonderful. Happened last week. Was good. And Brian and I have to talk about a tremendous project that launched this week. So should we start with the good news? Should we start with that? Well, after the 30-second check-in.
Sure. Let's start with good news.
Do you have a quick?
I think that's the good way to go. My 30-second check-in is except for the stream shutting down, today hasn't been a bad day.
Ooh.
I went back to school today. I was back in school and had a lot of my kids from last year see me in the hall, and they were running up. They were so excited. Mr. Noonan, where have you been? It's been so long since we've seen you. Where have you been? And a lot of the teachers were like, it's so good to have you back. And one teacher was like, you don't know how much normalcy you bring to being here. So you being in the building makes everything better. And I was like, oh, that was very nice. So that was nice today, even though I had to get up ungodly early. Well, but but so today, as I think it was, I can't remember. Today was a good day. I think that's Ice Cube. Today was a good day. Didn't even have to use my AK.
Oh,
so today was a good day.
Cool.
Yeah. How about you?
No, today's a good day. I'm racking up so much sleep debt. Speaking of ungodly hours, my daughter just wakes up at 5 now. That's just the way.
Really, that's her thing.
Yeah. Sometimes.
She a farmer?
I don't know.
maybe she's got a future in agriculture.
Maybe. And then her or my son will wake up at either 11 p.m. or 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. sporadically with something going on. And sometimes they wake up the other one. So I had 3 hours of sleep Saturday night. And I think maybe 3 last night, or maybe it was 5 the previous. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God, that
loopy.
Sucks.
I am loopy. So
we're going to queue, although we'll keep this tight. As the kids like to
it's
say.
Whatever. I mean, we're always up by 10, but I am. My brain is.
Wow.
But I just.
Plus, you've got a ton of work.
I am very overcommitted. I was working on our project until 1 o'clock this morning.
Oh God.
So and that's on me. Wow. Like I need to not be a perfectionist about some things, and I'm not, but I need things to be good enough, and that does take time.
Sure.
The other thing is I just got home from, and on top of all the work stuff, I just got home from church.
Church? What were you doing at church?
Had a little baptism pre-class.
Who's getting baptized?
Well, both my kids got to get dunked.
Oh, you haven't dunked the first one?
Haven't dunked the first one because there was a pandemic, and I didn't.
Oh, that's right.
I just stopped. It wasn't a priority to fit,
Sure. Yeah.
It was too hard to figure out if my nearest restaurant was open, let alone the church. And then, my mom is very involved with the Catholic Church. And so, I'd see her, talk to her, and it's like, oh, well, this week they're letting a couple people in. This week they're not letting in certain demographics. This week you got to buy a ticket.
Certain demographics.
You enter a raffle to see if you can get to go to church. And it was like, this was crazy. And I'm like, I'm not gonna waste all my energy and then go to church in a mask and you can't talk. Like the whole point's to meet people and be a part of a community. So I wasn't gonna go get involved. I mean, I guess there's worshiping God too, but I don't know. I just didn't. I haven't really done the church thing until now because it just took a while. But here we are.
So I don't know if my online ministry, if I could baptize too, I could have just swung by with a bottle of water, thrown some on your kids, everything be good.
That's fair.
Wash away that original sin. that Adam and Eve, whatnot.
Would have appreciated.
Listen, all you have to do is ask.
Mhm.
You know, come over, bring a little, pretend it's The Exorcist. I just stand across the room and the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
There you go.
See if the children just start screaming. Other than me in their house throwing water at them, I don't think that would have scared them.
But it wouldn't surprise him either.
That's probably true. That's
No.
probably true. All
Well,
right,
we did a thing.
we've done a thing. I was going to say, do you want to
No, you
introduce
made
it
this
since you're-
happen. Do it. You do it.
All right. Well, we made this do it along with another person that we'll plug momentarily. For years on the old station and even on the new station, I did a thing called At the Breweries. Cody had produced a wonderful open, and he would get involved. And for a long time, we had John Crothers and Jesse Valenciana come on with us when Jesse was with Goose and John is still with Revolution. And we love talking to brewers. Their stories are fascinating. I love drinking beer. Cody likes drinking beer. We love talking to these guys, like I said, because their stories are so good. And so for a number of years, I had said we should do a podcast about this. We should, have a thing. And I had typed up a treatment and sent it to Cody, and he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And because I'm lazy, it never, got off the ground.
A beer
A beer podcast. So it is off the ground. And I don't want to bury the lead. I'm going to, I got to tell how it all came about. So I was at Beer Under Glass, the big beer festival. Cody wasn't able to go this year, so I was there with Debbie. And we come across our friend Catherine Vallow, who is, along with her husband, they're the owners of Exit Strategy Brewing in Forest Park, Illinois. And she'd been on our show. She was actually on our show 5 minutes after JB Pritzker shut down all the bars and restaurants that day. And so
from quarantine, the COVID shutdown.
The COVID
Illinois
shutdown.
Shut it down, and she
Right.
goes on the air.
And because we were like, we didn't know. And Cody called her and asked her, do you still want to go on? And she said yes. And that had to be rough. So she said, hey, can I ask you some questions about podcasts? Because I know you do one. And I was going to do a podcast with a guy and he flaked on me. And so I need to, and I said, well, yeah, you can ask me anything. And if I don't know the answer, which is a good bet, I'll put you in touch with Cody. Because you know Cody and he will know the answer. She's like, okay, good. And I walked away, as I always do. And then I said to Debbie, I should have pitched her on At the Breweries, which was the tentative title at the time. Because I think this would be something she would like. Because I had finagled the pitch a little bit. And of course, Debbie's like, yes, you have to. And I was like, I don't know. But So I went and I said, hey, she had walked away from her booth, so she wasn't working. I wasn't interrupted. Pardon me. And I said, I'm only going to keep you for a second, but would you be interested in this idea? And I told her it. And she was like, yes, that's the idea. I was like, okay. And then I contact Cody and I said, hey, I know you're really busy, but can you just give us some advice to get started? Because that's what Cody builds podcasts. That's what he does for a living. He's won awards, is very good at it. Plus, I respect Cody a lot. So I knew he'd have some answers, but that was as far, because I know how busy he is. So I said, I said to you, will you just come and have a meeting and give us some tips, what we need to do to get started? And you did. And then you decided you were going to produce this thing. That was pretty much it, right? Because I didn't want to ask you to produce. I secretly was hoping you would, but I wasn't gonna ask you, So now, we in late July, we started kind of messing around, putting it together.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Sorry, I got mildly distracted. My son just woke up screaming.
Oh no,
in the next
is he okay?
room. Yeah, I don't think I woke him up, but he's sick.
Oh,
We kept both the kids home from school today. We actually thought it was the chicken pox.
Oh no. Well, if they were gonna get it, getting it together is good.
I don't know. I don't think it is. He had a couple
Oh,
little bumps, and they just went away. It's weird.
that's
Anyway,
strange.
so I digress. Of course,
No,
the
that's all
screaming
right. If he's
makes sense. But no, how far back this went, it must have been. I could quickly look, but it
yeah,
probably was around July
yeah.
because it was hot. And
Yes.
yeah, you were like, "Hey, someone wants to do your podcast with me." Then we sat down, talked through some stuff, and as you said, I mean, I just didn't know how you'd do it without me. Like, not to sound conceited, but like
That's
I
listen, for
have.
it to be what we all think it's going to be, we couldn't have done it without you.
Well, I was willing to do it for free, which is hard to get someone to do.
Yeah, that was
I
great.
have the equipment. I have like multiple very high quality mics and XLR cables and a Zoom portable like recorder that I can use as an interface on my laptop. So I was set up technically. I even have camera lights to tape it. So we've been using yours, but I have some.
No,
So
I
like
know, yeah.
I technically had everything and could just do it. Knew it'd be good. Figured I'd help you get off the ground with a few episodes, and here we are.
So yeah, it's called Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. Myself and Catherine Vallow host it. Cody executive produces it, puts it all together, edits it, does all that. Everybody's doing different things. Like I've been kind of the default booker, and Catherine is doing social media and marketing on it and designing the merch. Yes, there will be merch for you to purchase.
Yeah.
And Cody has been doing all the technical stuff and the research and one's, even down to the name, what words are best for searches, what day should we release to optimize. So the end of last week, the trailer dropped on YouTube and on all the podcast platforms. We've posted it on our private Instagrams and Twitters and stuff. We do happen to have an Instagram on for the show. It's crafty _brewers _pod.
You spelled your name Brain.
Where? Well, that's right. That's how it should be. That's exactly how it should be.
Hold on. I'm going to be right back for 1 second.
All right. Yeah. Go see what's up with
stuff, but I know this stuff because I helped you design the show. Can you talk about the show? Be right back.
All right. So the show is, we tape at the brewery, which is, so it looks great. Cody did a nice job. It took us a while to figure out the right shot. It's a great shot. We've got the great background. Of course, we bring in a brewer. We always start the show by debunking a beer myth. So we're hoping that people will start sending us beer myths that they want busted or that they've heard and believed. Then we talk to the brewer and we talk about everything. We get their story. And yeah, we delve into some of the, styles and things, but it's a beer podcast about the people who create the beer and the fact that every beer is a story. And so that's what we focus on. Then Catherine has a segment at the end, This Week in Bad Customer Behavior, where she and the brewers can commiserate on what's going on and bad things that have happened in their breweries. And it is always fun. But overall, the whole thing is just a fun conversation from the owner of a brewery and myself, a big fanboy, with the brewers and the people who are responsible for what we all love drinking. Is he okay? Because that was loud. He was having a little.
You could hear it?
Oh yeah.
He's having some kind of night terror.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is your wife there, or are you just leaving him by himself?
No, she's got him. No, she was already in there. I just he was screaming a lot, so I just wanted to go see what was up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's okay. He's just got a little fever. He's got a night terror. Anyway, sorry. Don't want to derail.
That's okay.
And I told her to come get me if I can help. I mean, he's asleep. He's just screaming. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm very sad. But
that is sad.
You were talking about a thing.
You want to cut it short?
No. I mean, he's asleep. He's just screaming. It's not going to help anything for me to. Plus, he does not want daddy. He wants mommy. I don't know if you heard that.
I did hear.
Very specific about that.
Maybe you're the one who caused the trauma that's giving him night terrors.
Dude, when he's awake, he wants mommy. So daddy cannot do anything to help.
Okay.
And mommy's available. So no point in
That's
me doing
perfect.
anything.
All right.
But but let the record show I'm available. I told her, I was like, get me
Yes.
if you need me.
Of course. Of course.
But
So I just was explaining what the show was, and so here's the news: is it drops this week. The first episode drops on September 13th. You can subscribe now on all the podcast platforms. You can listen to the trailer that's on there, and
or
it's going to
watch.
watch the trailer. You can also watch the trailer on YouTube. So it'll be released. I thought we were going into just an audio medium, but we have a video component as well to this podcast. So there will be video, it will be audio, there will be merch down the road, and a lot of special things. We've already interviewed some great guests, but I don't want to keep tooting the horn. I'll let Cody talk about it for a minute.
Yeah, look, hey,
or whatever you want to do.
I have produced. I've produced a lot of radio shows with a lot of radio hosts. I've produced a lot of podcasts. I've worked on podcasts for Discovery Network shows. I basically ran a B2B podcast agency. I've worked on like 100 shows. I genuinely think this show is extraordinary and you should check it out. I watching it with my producer lens as like, how good can this go? I mean, it's no secret. I think Brian's one of the most talented hosts. You're probably the most talented host I've worked with. So there's that. And then you layer on Catherine, who you can't sell her short.
No.
She's not just a brewer. She is incredible. Yeah. She asks great questions. She's very quick. She and Brian have a very good chemistry. So she gets equal credit for just the personality on it. And between the two of them, I genuinely I've got two little kids. I've got a full-time job. I've got a couple part-time.
I was going to say some other side jobs.
I'm trying to get my kids baptized. I am out of my mind busy, but I am making time for this because I think it's truly quite extraordinary. It looks good. It sounds good. And I'm excited to be working on it. I'm really excited to be working on it.
And because Cody is a great producer, it also doesn't meander. It's less than an hour. We get a nice interview in there, a couple fun segments, and some snappy banter. And that's that. And Marta's asking, is it only about local microbreweries? At first, yes. But the plan is we're going to be branching out as soon as things get rolling, which should be soon. So we will be asking people and brewers if they want to be a part of it or they think they know a brewery, that they should let us know. It's craftybrewerspod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So if there's a brewery you'd like to see, that's good. But we started with friends, like a lot of podcasts do. And the one good thing about brewers is they are not shy to talk about beer, first of all. But the nice thing is the way the conversation is formatted, they're just talking to people. And so some of them are really funny.
Yes,
some of the brewers are out of control funny. And it makes just for a great conversation.
Yeah. And there are a lot of industry beer events in Chicago and the surrounding area that we will be attending. Brian's already attended. Catherine's attending. People come from out of town for those. And the show isn't even live yet. And I think you've had a couple conversations that people are like, yeah, we would totally do that.
Oh, sure.
I'm currently working through a remote setup so that we can do more remote interviews. We can do them pretty easily, but we have a complicated situation next week that I don't know how I'm going to record yet, but I'll work through it.
Okay.
I haven't even started planning that because I'm in another window. So I'm usually I have a different laptop for streaming, but I have my production laptop plugged in right now, and I literally have the first episode in my Adobe Premiere video editor on the side of this screen. So once I get this episode edited, then I'll figure out how to record next Sundays.
That's good.
But yeah, I think it'll branch out. I think that brewers will hear it. It'll be really good. I will say, just because I'm so underwater, it's not going to be the first couple episodes. I think will be slightly longer. and they will get shorter as we go. We're kind of finding a
Okay.
cadence, as many podcasts do.
Yeah.
But I like that. I think the first couple, like, really, like, we'll just allow them to breathe. You'll, like, really get deep, and then in future ones, we'll kind of tighten it a little extra just to make sure that we're not spending too much time. But like,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a boring conversation with Brian and Catherine. So
No, it's fun and the content is always good, but if you have aimless content with no direction, it's not going to go very far. And so Cody is our direction and our he's truly like at GN, you were a big help. You were more of a partner than a producer and all that. But we acquiesce to your demands or your suggestions or everything. It's like, no, Cody's the boss. We're just the hired guns that are coming on to yak. But so I'm excited. I try not to get excited, but the excitement of Cody and Catherine about this project is overwhelming. So I'm allowing myself brief moments of joy that this is coming out, and I can't wait because we've got a number of them done, recorded. So I'm really eager for people to hear it. I want it to get out in the world and see what's out there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I agree. I will say, well, yeah, we'll talk about episodes as they come out. But
Yes.
first episode's great. Second episode near the end goes totally off the rails, and it is hilarious. I cannot wait to release that one. But no, there's some good stuff.
And you saw I booked another guest today.
I did, yeah.
Oh, we're booking. So the word's getting out.
And look, this show's not gonna like pod fade, because based on we're gonna be we'll release a couple episodes this month right in a row just to kind of whet people's appetite. But then we're gonna go bi-weekly for the foreseeable future. We could change to weekly if, I don't know, we make money from it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
it'll be bi-weekly, and based on my bi-weekly plan, we're actually pretty much booked through the end of the year for publishing. So yeah, we're not just gonna like do a couple episodes and go away. Like this, we've literally been working on this for like 4 months now. So there's maybe 2 or 3, but still a long time. Like
it's been a couple months, and it's been a couple months of just before we even recorded the first one, just trying to figure everything out. And Cody giving us homework, about our thesis and what everything is. And then like this podcast started during the pandemic, obviously, and it was modeled on the show that we used to do together, where we just come in and we'd have ideas about things we wanted to talk about, and we just talk and have a good time, which is fine. And I like this. I like the way we do this. Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer, is more structure, but inside that structure is still the same amount of levity and edutainment and fun. So it's just it's like going bowling with a little kid. Cody put the foam runners down the gutters so we couldn't just go crazy. We still are getting there, and we're still having fun rolling the ball, but it's going to a specific destination.
Yeah.
Would that
Mike
be
in
a
the
fair?
Yeah, and Mike in the chat saying when it takes off live recordings, maybe. I see no reason why we couldn't take it on the road, get a little bust, stop by breweries, do a little live broadcast.
Oh
Have
yeah,
to buy a little more equipment, but
there's a lot of, again, I'm trying not to put the cart before the horse. There's a lot of plans if things go well.
Yeah.
And definitely being out at places is one of them. There will be Patreon and all that stuff. And so it's, if you can follow it and subscribe and you like it and you want to support it, we would be very grateful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we're realistic. Most podcasts don't like make it big or get huge or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
As a podcast professional, again, having worked on them for a long time, this one is good enough to be the best set up for success. Like the quality of the content is about as good as I have seen or heard at a podcast. So if it doesn't hit, it's not because of the content, because the content is phenomenal. It's just really bad luck. And don't worry, Gina, we will continue to do
No, we're gonna
realities.
keep doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
This is
Totally. Bring it.
this is you got to dance with who brought you.
Yeah, I'm not actually on mic for the most part on Crafty Brewers. I am
But
gonna
that's
get
gonna. I was gonna say that's gonna change,
yeah, I'm
right?
gonna get a mic and maybe do some like I'll be like Joe Rogan's Jamie, pull up the thing. Like I'll pop in with some quips and stuff. But I don't need to. That's the thing about being a good producer, which is what I think I am.
Yeah.
I look,
Award winning, I've heard.
I don't need the spotlight because Brian and Catherine are very good at it. Like, there's not a lot for me to add. Now, occasionally a one-liner. I remember Dan Shagru told me one time, the former producer for Nick DiGilio, I asked him if he wanted to be a host, and he was like, "No, the perfect thing for me is just like, I have a good one-liner, I pop my mic on, say it, and then I'm good for like the rest of the show or whatever. Pick my moments." And that always stuck with me. Because I think that's what I want to do with this show. I do want to have a little presence where I can throw in a thing here
Well, it's
and
funny
there.
because we refer to you throughout the show.
I get referred to a lot.
Because the guests will be tapping the table. Or, oh, stop tapping the table. Cody hates it when we tap the table, or
Yeah.
something else. Or there'll be a mention of you, and then of course the big, your big credits at the end. But yeah, it's and you've been talking about it. You just haven't. You've been like, I should get a mic. I should get a mic, and nobody said no, Cody. You don't need a mic except for you. You're the only one. No, Marta, we're staying with beer. We're not going to distilleries or wineries. There's plenty of beer out there.
Yeah, a really good podcast has a strong, solid premise. So, and that typically involves being very specific. So, not only are we talking to brewers like about craft beer, but it's specifically brewers. It's not like a representative from a company or like a marketing person or like the head of a craft beer association. It's the brewers. And that's very intentional to keep it to keep it interesting for people that want to hear it from brewers. If at some point we get bored or they get bored or we want to branch out a little, we can maybe have a theme and variations. But this is Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer, as told by the brewers. So that's just kind of where we're going to focus on right now.
And we do have we're going to be recording one soon, which is a roundtable with women in the brewing industry. So it's going to be, we're going to have different things like that, but it still comes back to the same central premise. It's the stories of the people who are making the beer that we're drinking.
Yeah.
And how they got there. Because nobody started there. So how'd they end up there? And what's going on? And it's fun. It's fun to do. And it's, I feel every week though that we've been recording, I'm like, I got to get like 87 tattoos before, to be taken seriously.
You haven't worn much flannel. You haven't worn that much flannel.
Well, it's been hot. Like a couple of the weeks we were recording, it was 100 degrees. I did break out on one of the episodes, the faux Western homebrewer shirt, with the snaps. And there'll be some flannel, as the winter comes, I'll put on a knit hat, get a fake beard.
Yep.
It'll be fun. So yeah, if you, we'd love it if you listened and let us know what you think. Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. It'll be available on all your favorite podcast platforms. It'll be available on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram at crafty_brewers_pod and drop us an email, craftybrewerspod@gmail.com.
Yeah. And one other note, for some reason, if you search Crafty Brewers on YouTube specifically, it wasn't showing up in the results.
Yeah.
Last couple days, maybe that's changed. I think it's because the only video on the channel is the trailer. And I imagine that it will appear in results once the first episode is live Wednesday. So if you have trouble finding it on YouTube, you can go directly to it, youtube.com/@craftybrewers. Pretty easy. You can go directly, but if you can't find it, give it a couple days. Maybe it'll work. But again, it's on Spotify. It's on Apple. You can find it everywhere else.
Yeah. And I was so giddy yesterday when I put it into Spotify. And I know like this podcast is on Spotify and Apple and everywhere. And it was the first time I saw it. I was like, ah. And yesterday when I saw Crafty Brewers on there and there was the trail, I was like, oh, here we go.
It's legit.
It is legit. It's too legit to quit, quite
It's very
frankly.
legit. It's very legit. It's got a
Yeah.
logo. It's got everything.
It's got a logo. There's going to be merch. Did I mention there'll be merch? I can't wait. My therapist already wants a hood. I went into therapy the other day and I had on a t-shirt from Abita Brewing, and it was like this off, like a faded green, almost like your shirt color.
Mhm.
And first thing he says to me, that's going to be a good color shirt for the Crafty Brewers logo.
Wow.
I was like, that's cool. We'll get it handled. We'll find out,
Nice.
So there you go. So yeah, that's the big project that we've been working on, because Cody really had way too much free time.
Yeah.
He was just laying about the house. The kids were running wild. They were like feral. They were out in the backyard. He wasn't doing anything. I said, listen, if I can get you a project, will that help you pull it together?
The worst part is I have another thing I'm launching this week, maybe, that I can't even announce, but I don't know. I'm editing the trailer for something else I'm supposedly going to launch tomorrow.
It's not as good, right?
It's not as good. But like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's probably paying more than Crafty Brewers, but you're a partner. You own 33% of the show, so you've got equity in nothing, but you have equity. That's there will be no money.
I
But
also
on your
have
deathbed.
Yeah, no. I've been working for a startup that gave me equity, but it's pre-seed. It hasn't actually raised money or incorporated itself yet.
Yeah, just like Crafty Brewers.
Basically, honestly, Crafty Brewers is
Brewers,
further
Inc.
along. Crafty Brewers is further along, and I have much more equity. I have
You have a third.
I have a third.
You own a third.
That is more than 1%.
It's a lot of equity.
It's a lot of equity.
That's like that first hoodie sells. That's probably $6 in your pocket.
If I had to bet on a horse, it would be Crafty Brewers in this race.
Good. I'm glad. I'm happy to. That's what I keep telling Debbie. I go, listen, I don't get excited, but Cody wants to enter us in a contest, and he thinks it's really good. And I'm like, okay.
I'm actually really amped about the awards.
I get it. Oh, if we win an award, what does that mean? Somebody asked me, what does that mean if you win an award as a podcast? Obviously we'd have an award, but does it increase visibility? Does it like if all of a sudden we win an award, does Apple shoot us to the top?
Statistically, awards have not left a noticeable impact on downloads for shows that have won them. However, Apple did recently introduce a new category that is called award-winning podcasts. And they have lists of shows that have won. There's like 6 or 7 different awards. So if we enter the Webbies and we win a Webby, we may appear in that. Now, I don't know. There's no data. This is brand new. There's no data on who is looking at that, if anyone, what kind of effect that would have long-term. And it would be virtually untraceable because podcast analytics are a total nightmare. And it's one of the hardest things to understand. And it's my full-time job. So that's fun. But long story short, no. But there's a trophy.
That would be cool. Oh yeah, you have a couple.
Like when I won the People's Choice Podcast Awards, I got this cool trophy. I've got 2 of these, and I would love to add more to my collection because I'm very vain and also weirdly
competitive.
No, I was actually gonna say I don't lack self-confidence. What's the term? I need validation. I need external validation desperately. So these trophies I cling on to with my dear life and keep them out of reach of my children. But yeah, if this next award costs a lot of money to enter, if I will pay the vast majority of that money.
No, we're paying thirds.
No,
but you want the trophy. That's fine. As long as we do a hoodie that says "You bet your ass we're award winning." That would be the front would be the logo, and on the back, it'd be "You bet your ass we're award winning."
Honestly, there's so much merchandise that Brian and Catherine have come up with in the course of these interviews. Like, if we get a halfway decent, even a remotely competent designer to put
Yeah.
some of these logos on these shirts, you're all going to buy one. If
Oh,
you're
you're all
listening
gonna
to this
want these
show
shirts.
and you find out about these shirts, you're going to buy one. They're brilliant.
Now, before Mike, before you ask, there will not be any douche canoe merchandise, but there will be some that will be equally as hilarious / offensive.
Yep.
So fear not. We are not a rated G podcast. It's not explicit, but
It probably will be explicit
probably because there's some swears.
because there's swears because it's about beer. So like
The brewers like to swear.
you should probably be 21 if you're listening to a brewery podcast.
Yeah, it's not for the children. I'm not, no, we're not working with puppets.
Right. It's not like explicit, like they're dropping F-bombs everywhere,
No.
but yeah, there's some cursing.
There was sex in that one episode. That was weird.
The sex on the bar I thought was kind of weird. But
it did illustrate a point they were trying to make about, the hops being fertilized. It was a whole weird thing. I don't know.
No.
Download the episodes, enjoy them, listen at your own risk. It's good.
Well, it reflected the beer had great. There was a great
body.
Great head on that
really
beer.
Good. Hold on.
Anyway.
So that's that. So Crafty Brewers, tales behind craft beer. Cody's working very hard on it. All three of us, myself, Catherine Vallow, and Cody, are proud of it. And we wouldn't listen first of all, Cody wouldn't work on it if he thought it was awful. I wouldn't promote it if I thought it was awful, or even if it was like average. I'd be quiet and just let it come out and blah blah blah. I don't think it is. So I'm eager for you to try it, enjoy it, and then move on. I feel like we've been old school Howard Stern now, where we've taken a half hour to promote our projects.
Does he do that?
He used to, like when his movie was coming out or his book was coming out, that's all he would talk about for the whole show. So,
well, to be fair, it's really the only good news you have.
Speaking
of your therapist.
It is. Well, let me just say this before I delve into the the horrors, the trials of Job that I have endured. At one point during my appointment on Saturday, my therapist said, I have never had somebody come in and enumerate the amount of horrible things that have happened in 2 weeks that you just did. Wow. Yeah. So there, that, so I'll go back to the first question of the night in the chat. Gina asked how Gidget is doing. And that is, that's probably the thing that sucks the most about the last 2 weeks. After the last podcast, which was on a Monday, Gidget, I had to put Gidget down on that Wednesday. So, and I don't want to, I think if you are a pet owner that's been through this, you can't talk about it too much because you start to cry again. And it's one of those things. This is the fourth dog that I've had to put down since we've been married, and it's never gotten easier. We've been so lucky with all the dogs that we've adopted, from Baloo to Max to Spike, then Gidget, now Lawson, and our old pal Walter's downstairs. We didn't technically adopt him, but he lives here enough that I'm writing him off on my taxes. So it's hard. And Cody, you know me, there are a lot of people that I despise in this world, and I wouldn't wish this pain on them even.
Yeah.
So it was, I will say, thank goodness we had gotten a new vet. Catherine Vallow from the podcast had just gone through her senior dog passing away, and the vet we were with was horrible. Like, we've only had to call them twice in an emergency, both times about Gidget. One was 2 years ago and one was a couple weeks ago. And both times they were like, well, we can't get you in for a week. I'm like, well, I don't have a week. So Catherine referred us to her vets, who were just wonderful. They got Gidget in the first time, and that's when they said she had the onset dementia and things were going bad. We got her some medicine that they thought might help. And then, like I said, Monday, when we did the last podcast, she was laying here in the office with me. Um, she hadn't eaten that day. Tuesday, she couldn't walk. She just, it just, that was it. And so I called the vet and I was like, hey, she can't walk. Can I bring her in? They said, well, can you bring her in the morning? I said, sure, I'll bring her in the morning. So that Tuesday night, I picked her up from the backyard and carried her in, and I laid her on the love seat because that's where she liked to be a lot. And she couldn't even get up to turn herself on, like on the love seat. I had to reposition her. And anytime we left, she started whining because she couldn't move. She was scared. She was all that. So Tuesday night, I ended up sleeping on the floor next to the love seat. So at least if she couldn't see me, I could put my hand up. And Debbie had stayed all Tuesday night sitting with her and stuff. And so then I got her to the vet, and we got there a little early, and they were really nice because I called. I said, well, do you want me to carry her in through the lobby, or? And they said, no, just wait. And the weird thing was, I pulled up with Gidget, a car pulled up next to me, and I could tell it was the same reason, because there was a guy trying to keep a stiff upper lip, and his wife was crying, and they carried their little dog in a blanket. And so I got in the back of the car and just sat with Gidget for a while we were waiting. And, then those people came out empty handed, and they came out and two women from the vet clinic carried Gidget in, and they had already put down like a bed and blankets on the exam room floor. And the vet opened the door and took one look and was like, oh man. She goes, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I know what the answer is, but you got to say it for me. I got to hear you say it, because to cement that I'm doing the right thing. And he did, and he gave me a hug. And yeah, so pardon me, sorry. So that was it. And I was with her the whole time, because they always ask you, do you want to stay? And I'm like, yeah, I got to stay. I'm not going to leave her alone in her, I've had her since she was 8 weeks old. I'm not going to leave. So that was that. You can tell a story now, Cody, so I can collect myself.
Not a good way to start the last couple of weeks. I had a weird pet story that is not tragic. Well, it's just weird. That will take you out of it. So, my son's 3rd birthday was last week, and you were at the party. Thank you for coming. We had a beautiful day at the Morton Arboretum.
Your son is hilarious because he ignored us.
Oh my God.
For the whole, but then as I didn't see him, we said goodbye to everybody and we were leaving. And all of a sudden we're walking toward the gate, and I hear this little voice, where are you going? Where are you going? And I turned around and he was chasing us.
Oh my God.
And then he wanted to talk. Remember that time I came to your house? I'm like, yeah, you got to come back to our house. Blah, blah. And he was showing us how he was climbing on the wall. It was the weirdest, like, oh, they're leaving. I better say hello. It was
Good
so
Lord.
funny.
Well, if you want to watch them, last Friday in September, my wife wants to see a show.
That's the 29th?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be in Milwaukee at a baseball game. Sorry.
Oh, ooh, that's fun though.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let my wife know. Yeah, we don't. She was looking at some show. I don't know. But point is, so the birthday party was the Morton Arboretum. It was beautiful. A lot of his friends came from daycare that we had invited when we didn't know anything about, because he doesn't tell us things. But it was very fun. A lot of people came out. My family came out from Rockford. There were like 50 people there. We actually were at capacity for the reservation. But I don't have much of a story to tell about that. The story I have to tell is what we got him for his birthday, which, tying back to pets, we did not get a dog. We did not get a cat.
Raccoon?
My wife decided we would get him a fish. Now, this story gets real weird real quick.
Yeah.
Because it's not about you don't just buy a bowl and, put some pebbles in it, get a little goldfish. Now, have you had a fish before, Brian?
We had, Molly wanted an aquarium back when we lived in California. She asked for an aquarium, and it was a huge job because I was in charge of this aquarium. It was like, I don't know, 8 gallons, 16 gallons, not huge,
Right.
but big enough where I had to clean it and I had to get the thing that sucked all the goldfish poop out of it. And monthly, I had to change the water and scrub the inside. And oh my God, yes. And then I will let you get back to your story. I'll finish it by saying this: they didn't want to flush the fish when we were moving back from California. We knew we couldn't transport these goldfish because they probably wouldn't make it. It'd be too traumatic for the goldfish. So Debbie found a pet store near our house in California that said they would take the goldfish. Like they'd take them and, I don't know, repopulate them, give them to somebody else, flush them themselves because some crazy lady brought in a bag of goldfish to the pet store. But yes, so to answer your question in a long-winded way, yes, we've had fish.
Yeah. So if you have a fish, great. You're listening, great. One of my brothers or both or someone in my home had fish at some point. So my wife goes to the aquarium. Same thing, right? We get the little aquarium thing, but you get the little rocks. You get some plants for it.
Sure.
You get the sponge filter. You get the light for it. It's like a whole rigmarole.
It's a whole thing.
And that's fine. She ordered it. Picked it up. I just picked up a glass aquarium and like 6 little boxes of things. Fine, setting it up. The reason I bring it up is because when you go to like the pet store, there's like dog people and there's like cat people. But where we got this set up, we haven't even bought the animal yet. Where we got the whole aquarium.
Well, you can't. You got to the water's got to be conditioned first.
Yeah. Oh no, the biosphere is biosphering real hard.
Yes.
And the people that taught us how to do that are fish people.
Oh my.
Now, I don't know how most fish people are, but the fish people at the place we went to, which I won't tell you where it is.
Okay.
But the fish people we went to were real weird. Real weird.
Now, are you just getting like goldfish?
I don't know. I've left the entire thing up to my wife. She asked my son if he wanted a fish for his birthday. He said yes.
Oh my God.
We're sending thank you cards soon, by the way.
Oh, I'm
a little behind on that. But we're getting it. There were a lot of people.
There were a lot of people.
There were a lot.
One woman took a tumble. Did you ever get a report? Is she okay?
She's good. That was my aunt.
Right.
Yeah, she's okay.
Goodness.
She's okay. Well, oh my God. My wife has raved about the children's garden at the Morton Arboretum. She's like, the children's garden is beautiful and the kids can run around and play and there's all this stuff. So we rented the pavilion next to the children's garden. Okay. And so then all the kids, if they wanted, they could go with mommy and daddy over and run and play in the children's garden. It was like, I walked by it 7 times. It's like 5 feet away from us. At no point did I actually see the children's garden.
I didn't either.
Well, right. Because I don't know. Your excuse is that my son refused to talk to or acknowledge.
No. He acknowledged us. He just, he had other people he was talking to.
Just being very rude. I was very upset with him.
Stop. We were not upset with him at all.
Well, that's good. But no, I was too busy greeting people and meeting people.
Yes.
And hosting. And then I loaded up the car with the rest of the food and it was like, time to go. I didn't even peek my head around the corner. I got to go back. But dude, the fish people, they're so weird. They're so weird. They're very eccentric and they get very, very touchy about like, well, how about this fish? Well, you got to do this and you got to do that. And you got to do it quickly. You got to make sure that the phytoplankton is, I don't know what they say. I didn't actually interact much with any of them, but they are intense and they're fish people. So
wow.
It was fun. Just go to a fish store sometime and
just a straight up fish store.
Yeah. There's one by us where things are pretty chill in Lombard, but the one that we went to was weird.
Well, the good thing is that if you had to deal with that weirdness, the fish will probably survive. I know the first couple fish we got did not survive. I don't think we had prepped the tank long enough or whatever. So it was not, but then they thrived. Then we had the same fish for a long time until, a couple years. Ooh. Until we had to move.
All right.
But
yeah.
Get used to that aquarium maintenance. It's a pain in the ass.
All right. But we set it up in the there's like a kind of we call it the library, but there's an office before you get to my bedroom. and the aquarium's set up there, so it's like a babbling brook right outside our door.
Oh, very nice. I liked looking at the aquarium.
Yeah,
It was kind of calming.
yeah.
I think at one time we had 4 or 5 fish in there, and they got, they were just goldfish, but they got halfway decent. They were whatever kind of goldfish get a little bigger, um, and it was fun, you know. But Molly was too young to take care of it, and Debbie had no interest in taking care of it. So like, I went and got the tools, and I got really quick and good at changing out the water and cleaning out the poop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This will be our first foray. I don't know who's taking the lead. I keep looking around my desk because I saw a daddy long legs crawl
Oh,
down right behind my camera, and now it's under my desktop, which is
dun, dun, dun,
it's
dun,
a
dun,
floating
dun, dun.
desktop. It's just sticks out of the wall. So now I'm like, okay, is a creepy crawly gonna jump on my desk? I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. They're not venomous or whatever. Or they are, but it's not enough to kill anybody, or their
I was gonna
teeth
say
aren't
it's a
sharp.
daddy long legs. It's
No,
not.
we did a whole story on curiosity, but they're not gonna kill
Was that another one of your award-winning podcasts?
is it the only award-winning it's the only podcast that won awards that I was producing. I'm
Oh,
associated with another one that won an award, but
we
I
don't.
don't count it. I don't count it because I didn't really help make the show. So
Okay.
but
Well,
I
it's
did
all right.
help
You'll
them.
have some more hardware soon.
I'm using you and Catherine to win an award. That's what
That's
I'm
all
gonna
right.
do. As
That's
soon as I
fine.
get that, I'm gonna edit the F out of that second episode, and I am shipping it off. I'm gonna pay the $250 entry fee, and you can subsidize me if you want. And I'm
We
gonna have
also
that
we both
trophy.
said we did. Don't make it sound
I'm
like
gonna build a shelf behind me. I'm gonna have that trophy. I'm gonna have it on my bookcase so everyone on my Zoom calls can see this big, tall gold trophy.
and you have to bring it to every recording
Oh
and
yeah.
you just sit it there.
I
And
mean,
then the guest will go, "What's that?" I go, we won an award. It's a major award.
like I should like Catherine should put it in Exit Strategy Brewing,
Right.
but
There should be a big glass case.
but I'm selfish.
Oh.
And again, I need the validation. Maybe you can order extras. You can probably order
Will
extras.
we bring it to remotes like they did with the Stanley Cup?
Yes.
And will we each get a week with it?
Well, no one's allowed to kiss it is the thing, or whatever they do.
Okay. Oh, they do all kinds of things with it. They kiss it, they put a baby in it, they drink champagne out of it, they do all kind of crazy stuff with the Stanley Cup.
I'm not doing that.
Take it skiing.
We're not doing that.
All right. Can we can Catherine and I at least get a picture with it?
Maybe we'll get multiple. Maybe they
I
can
hope
buy,
so. Yeah, I
buy
think
extras.
we'll
Because you should have one too. You've got a
we'll
great
buy
background with
we'll buy like a half dozen. Just
I haven't even assumed
we'll
that
buy them and give them as Christmas gifts. Here you go. Enjoy it. What is this? Oh, well, it's our award. It's a major award.
you like how I'm like, well, Catherine deserves to have it in her space, but I want it because I'm selfish. And
Yeah,
I
and I
just
left out completely.
disregard that.
Yeah. I
you
like
have any-
things.
Do you have any trophies?
No. I look
No?
around like I know I should have one. No, what am I going to have a trophy for? You know, God forbid I was ever nominated for a Silver Dome Award at the old place, and you know,
Didn't you did you ever play the Tonight Show? Were
I
you
was on the Tonight Show.
You were on the Tonight Show, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
That's amazing. That's better
It's not
than
a trophy.
it's better than a
It's a
trophy.
credit. I do have my
Okay.
name tag from my dressing room door, though.
Your
That's pretty cool.
Your IMDb is your trophy.
Just being alive is my trophy, Cody. I have survived many things. I survived a shooting last week.
Yeah, let's talk about
Want to
your
hear the
next,
shooting? Want to hear the
horrific.
shooting story? As we go from this is just a couple days after I lost my dog of 13 years. I needed a phone because my phone was old. I think it was an Apple II, the iPhone 2. It was still rotary. There was
Apple II.
the
That was
Apple II.
that
It
was
was
a
not even.
desktop.
Yeah, it was. It was not even a phone. I used to just yell into it, wonder why nobody could hear me, because it was just it was literally a brick from the backyard.
No, it's an Apple IIe. You carry it on your shoulder
Yeah,
like a
it was
boom
big.
box.
I was like Radio Raheem trying to place a call. There's a Do the Right Thing reference for everybody.
Is he the Republican running for president?
No. Radio Raheem was a character in Do the Right Thing, and he always carried a giant boombox. That was hence the Radio Raheem part.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, so I was due for an upgrade probably for the last 6 years, and so Debbie goes, "We'll go get it," and she put it all in online, and they sent us to an AT&T store, which is only 4 miles from my house, not far. So last Saturday afternoon, we're like, okay, let's get out of the house. You know, there's a lot going on here, and I had gone out and done something for my mom that morning because. Speaking of phones, I get a panicked call that Friday night. Again, 2 days now. We're still in shock, and I'm not using that as an excuse. Anybody who's it's like, oh, my mom calls at 8:00. I lost my phone. I go, what? How'd you lose your phone? And don't ask. She's calling me on her landline. She still has a landline. Of course she does. She's 86. Who doesn't have a landline at 86? So, she goes, well, I was out pumping gas and I had to call the beauty shop and tell them I was going to be late and blah, blah, blah. And in my mind, I'm having this whole thing where I'm like, what are you doing making a call while you're at the gas station? Can't you just blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I went out Saturday morning and it was in her car. So that was fun. And then I get home.
But to be fair, it was in a crevasse.
It was really hard. It was hard to get to. It was hard to get to. But my favorite part was when I walked in with it and she goes, where did you find that? In the car. But in her defense, I don't know how the phone got down there because there's literally that much room. Barely enough. She has a thin phone without a case. Barely enough room for that phone to fall. I needed to get first I was pulling the leather as far back as I could and shining a light, and that's how I caught a glimpse of it. So then I'm under the seats, and I had to use a really long screwdriver to push it far enough where I could grab it with some pliers to get it out of there. So now I'm going to go get my phone. Hopefully it's not going to be as traumatic as retrieving my mom's phone. We're just going to go to the Apple store or the AT&T store, and they're going to swap out the phone, and they're going to fix it, and it'll be great. So you remember last Saturday, it was about 100 degrees, sunny.
Hot.
I don't know how the heat bears into this story, but I think it must. Driving along Belmont Avenue in Chicago, get to the corner of Belmont and Long. The light turns red, so I'm the first car going eastbound. As I'm watching the light and watching traffic, I hear pop, pop, pop. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And as I turn my head, fraction of an inch, kitty corner so I'm at like the southeast corner. On the southwest corner is a guy shooting back at the convenience store that we are adjacent to. He lets off another 3 shots. Pop, pop, pop. I see him clearly. I see the gun. And I look and I see the people in the convenience store pressed against the window watching. Then he starts walking in front of my car across the street, and he's smiling, and he's still got the gun out, but he's trying to pull up a hood. And I'm like, dude, it's 100 degrees. The hood is not going to be a good disguise because we're going to go, oh, it was a short, chubby guy with slick back hair. And you might have noticed he's wearing a hoodie when it's 100. That's going to be the dead giveaway. While he's crossing in front of me, I look in the rearview mirror. There's a guy crossing behind my car. Now, this guy is staring at the other guy, and he's smiling too. So I don't know if he's the guy who was being shot at and missed, or if he's with this guy who was doing the shooting. But all I know is I'm between 2 guys. One of those guys has a gun for sure.
Ain't good.
So the light changes, and now he's crossed the street, and I start to go, and Debbie's like, I couldn't even identify him. And I said, I could. And she's like, well, then why don't we stop? And I said, because I'm not stopping. There was a store full of witnesses. They all saw it. I'm not getting involved in this. I'm going. So we go to the AT&T store, and weirdly, what movie is playing on the giant TV? John Wick. So there, I had just lived through a real life gunfire, and now I'm watching Keanu Reeves empty pretty much every weapon known to man in film.
Yeah.
So the shooting happens, and I get the phone, everything's fine. Driving home, I'm about 4 blocks now, heading back west. I'm about 4 blocks from where we witnessed this shooting, and my car completely dies. First, the radio goes out. I'm like, oh man, I can't drive a car without a radio. Then the power steering light starts flashing. I go, wow, I really can't drive a car that I can't steer. Thankfully, I don't know who was watching out for me. I get to a point, and there was a huge open spot on the curb on Belmont. It was in front of like an auto place. So there was 2 garage doors, and I was able to pull over and call a tow truck. And for some reason, the dealership where you bought your car, so close to my house that you could not be bothered to stop by, they were staying open till 6:30 on Saturday. And they're like, well, if you can get it here, because I didn't want to just leave it on the side of the road, especially at the OK Corral, where where I had just been. So, long story, this part short, we get the tow truck comes, they tow it in. That was $2,000 worth of stuff. So if you're keeping track, my dog died, I almost got shot, and my car died as well. But my car is back. Gidget is still unfortunately not. But and Debbie and I were not shot. So all in all, no, I wasn't going to call it. I was going to try to call it a win somehow, but no. I walked in that Sunday. I walked in to record the podcast, and I was out of my mind. But it was like that was the only thing that was keeping me going. Because if not, I would have. Then, so this is all piled on. The other day, I'd been having some trouble with my teeth. My teeth were hurting. So I make an appointment to go to the dentist last Friday. Thursday night, a giant chunk of my tooth flies off. Friday, I had to get a temporary cap, a crown rather. And so now I got to wait a couple weeks. I got to go back and get a crown. But I'm sitting just before I started my show on TMJ, I was eating a very soft chocolate chip cookie. And I thought, oh, I have something stuck in my teeth. I was like, no, I don't. There's a giant piece of my molar missing.
Okay.
So what do you got? It's the fact that I still get up in the morning is amazing sometimes.
Yeah. Well, this also,
Yeah.
this one also has to do with perhaps firearms and violence. Did you hear Aaron Rodgers may have been injured?
He was injured 4 minutes into the game tonight.
Yeah.
4 minutes into the game.
I just want to point out how incredibly insensitive that is because a jet crashes on today of all days. Aaron Rodgers.
I thought you were a Green Bay Packer fan.
He said he would never forget Brian. Here we are, crashing on 9/11. Anyway, I don't watch football. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers. I don't care.
I watched real Hard Knocks because the Jets were the focus of Hard Knocks this year. And so I was like, oh, I kind of anytime any season that I watched Hard Knocks, I started to have a soft spot for that team. And so I was, I was like, oh, the Jets, they might have a chance. Aaron Rodgers looks good, and the coach, everybody looks great. Oh, my goodness. And 4 minutes in, they're hauling his ass off the field. And the shot of the coach of the Jets when they were carrying Aaron Rodgers off, it was this poor guy. It was a look of anguish and shock. And you got to be shitting me. It was all written across his face. And I know because that's been my face for the last 2 weeks.
Man.
Oh yeah. So Aaron is out.
Yeah, all I know is the Bears lost and people are upset about it. I don't know who they lost to, but
They lost to the Packers.
Oh, okay.
You really have given up all sports fandom at all, haven't you?
Except for AEW, which
Yeah. Didn't you have to get home last week and watch some pay-per-view?
I did. You haven't heard about all the drama?
No. How would I hear about the AEW?
Let me spin
drama?
a narrative for
Please
you
do. Spit some rhymes.
and a listener. All right, listener. CM Punk was wrestled in WWE for a long time. He was catapulted to extreme heights in WWE, top superstar, walked out of WWE abruptly because he wasn't being treated well. Didn't appear in wrestling for 7 years. And then All Elite Wrestling comes out a few years ago. It's a new promotion. It's shiny. It's got a different culture. It's got a different schedule. CM Punk comes back to wrestling after 7 years. So here's where the drama starts. He wrestles. It's great. People love him. Last year, after a pay-per-view, he was very upset with some of the executive vice presidents at AEW who happened to be wrestlers as well.
Oh, my.
Very upset with them. And he had also injured himself in the title match.
Oh, no. Can I ask what he was upset about?
Oh, just backstage drama. Just some people, I don't, that's
compensation, any of that?
No, whole separate story. He just didn't like them. They didn't like him. They didn't respect each other. He had just come back. So he's in AEW for like a year, gets injured. He's out for a while, comes back, wrestles for like a month, and he gets injured again. So this night of the press conference, about a year ago, not today, but a year ago, like this week, I'm pretty sure. A year ago, he's at this press conference. He just goes off. He's sitting next to the CEO of the company, and he just is like dropping F-bombs, calling like the executive vice presidents useless children, saying that the press were asking him stupid questions, just goes off, apparently walks off camera, gets in a physical altercation with these EVPs. They're all suspended and all stripped of their championships, and they disappear forever. So it's like, all right, now what? And so
now what?
The thing with CM Punk, his appeal is that he is always like kind of spoken truth to power. He's been very irreverent. He'll do like when in WWE, he made direct statements about Vince McMahon and like how the company will be better when he's dead. Like this kind of crossing the line, like not afraid. So then you hear about this backstage story. You're like, that's amazing. Is he going to come back? Because with Punk, the drama backstage becomes more compelling than the character on screen.
Right.
So every wrestling blog has been glued to this story for a year. Punk comes back a couple months ago. He's like, great, I'm back. AEW is about to have a giant event at Wembley Stadium in London, the largest stadium in the world. And it legitimately broke the record for largest attendance at a live wrestling event of all time, Guinness Book of World Records.
Jesus.
Yeah. So huge, right? There were like 83,000 people paid. It was the most paid attendance. So all in's about to happen. This guy, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, has a pre-show match. This is Luke Perry's son.
Oh my God. Okay. From 90210.
Son from 90210, actual Jack Perry. He's got a match and he wants someone to throw him into a car and have him go through the windshield. Now, AEW's policy is it can't be real glass, right?
Sure.
Like that will really mess you up. It's got to be sheet glass or stage glass or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't have it. They didn't stock it for a British car. So Jungle Boy's walking around backstage before the show going, I'm going to go through the windshield. And the managers and the direct, like everyone's like, no, you're not. Wrestlers are telling him, no, you're not. So someone apparently goes up to Punk and they're like, hey, CM Punk, can you ask him to not do this? He goes, Jack Perry's like, whatever, man. Goes out, does this match, walks up to the windshield, gets put through the windshield. He's got gashes in his back. He looks wrecked. And he walks over to the camera and looks at the camera and points at it and says, real glass, cry me a river, and then walks away. Now, this is on the televised broadcast of like the
Wow.
largest live wrestling event ever. So they finish the match. He goes backstage. Guess whose match is first on the card after the pre-show? CM Punk's match. So Punk is right there. Perry's right there. There are conflicting reports about who started it, but there was an altercation.
Whoa.
After which Punk went out and did his match. But I guess they get backstage. Security, he's like, do you need me to leave? Security is like, well, we're not going to make you, but it might make things a little smoother. He's like, fine, I'm going to leave. So he leaves. Jack Perry leaves. The next Saturday on AEW Collision, Tony Khan, the CEO, releases a press release that CM Punk has been terminated with cause from the company.
Whoa.
And the reason
is this a work?
No, this is not a work.
Okay.
The whole wrestling community is now furious. CM Punk sold more tickets than anybody in the company. He sold more merchandise. He drew the ratings. He was the guy.
He's the face. Yeah.
He's the biggest star they have. And now they don't really have a big star like him. But the funny thing is, when you asked me, you don't follow sports. The funny thing is, 2 months ago, AEW announced it was going to start to broadcast a second show. So now they have Wednesday night Dynamite and Saturday night Collision.
Okay.
Why this is interesting is because the reason they made a second show was because they needed to keep CM Punk separate from the wrestlers he doesn't like. The entire show was built around CM Punk being on it with the people who he doesn't hate. So there's a whole separate wrestling show. Now there's no CM Punk, which means there's no ratings. The ratings have gone they've fallen in half or something since he left, because that's all people wanted to see.
Yeah, really.
And now they don't know what to do with the show. They just have an extra 2 hours of content they can do anything with. So they got to redo the whole roster, and it's just going to be, it's a nightmare, man. So I still like AEW in a lot of ways, but man, them firing Punk was so dumb. And what they're doing with the time they have on television, I'm just like, I don't know, man.
Are they trying to build the Perry guy into a star or something?
He's been a pretty decent wrestler, but he's not great. He's good. He's not. Yeah. I mean, he's not he's a very good wrestler.
Okay.
He's quite excellent in many ways, but he's not The Rock or Austin.
He doesn't have the personality that
he does not have the personality.
You gotta have it.
Great in-ring ability, good physique, amazing skills, but on the mic, you're like, ew.
I may have asked you this. Have you ever watched the show Heels? It's on Stars.
You've told me about it. I know all about it. I just haven't watched it.
It's kind of fun. There's parts that are soap opera-y, but the wrestling part is kind of fun. And the seeing behind these small town promotions is pretty cool. But man, all right, hold on. I got to write this down. Cody on CM Punk. So when I do tomorrow when I do the recap, write it up for the thing. Well, let me plug one more thing before we start wrapping things up. Friday night, the 15th of September, year of our Lord 2023, I am part of the inaugural Teachers Lounge comedy show. It is at the Rouse Center for the Performing Arts in Crystal Lake, Illinois. I have done a, hold on. Yes, I have. There we go. There it is. There's a link if you want to get some tickets. So the deal is there's this group on the internet called Bored Teachers, and they've been doing comedy for a while, but they put out just clips, heavily edited clips that make them look really funny. And they charge a ton of money. Like they were in North Suburban Chicago and they sold out a pretty big theater. Tickets were like $90 to go see these people. And they wanted a ton of money. And supposedly it's for the teachers. And they give some of the money back to local districts and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I got approached by a guy that I know very well. And he was producing this show. He's like, "You still teaching?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, well, here's the deal." And he told me all the nuts and bolts of the thing. He said, "So we want to do one. And if it goes well, then hopefully, the people at the Row know these other theaters and we'll take it to different districts. And so it may turn into a little thing, a little tour. But the first one is Friday. So I've been writing material about teaching, and there'll be some regular material in there. And there's 3 of us, Bill Gorgo and oh my gosh, I feel bad now. Hold on. It's Bill Gorgo and oh boy, I'll get her name before we get out of here. I don't want to I don't want to short shrift anybody,
Sure.
but because somebody she's from the South Side, so I'm hoping that people call Jeannie Dugan is the woman's name. Jeannie Dugan, myself, and Bill Gorgo, and John DeCoste is hosting. So it's in Crystal Lake, so they've been gearing it toward the Crystal Lake school districts, but it's out there, and it may become, who knows, it may become another thing. I got a lot of things that may become something, Cody. That's my whole life is may become something. Like before I may become dead, I got to get one of the things to hit, and then it'll all be gravy.
Dude, you're telling me.
So yes, that was the final plug. I know you started to say something else, and I rudely interrupted you.
Don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. All right. Well, listen. Let's get you an extra 3 minutes of sleep.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that was very time. Like I'm like, yeah. I guess I don't have anything else.
Yeah. Why just why pad it then? Let's just do
fine.
it.
Fine, we can do
Let's do one more plug for Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. First episode drops Wednesday on all your favorite podcast platforms and on YouTube as well. So please, we always ask you to like and follow and subscribe to this show, and we still want you to do that. But we would also very much like it if you did it for Crafty Brewers, because Cody, myself, and Catherine Vallow have put a lot of work into it. We're really proud of it, and it's going to be good. So you can go wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe already, and follow us on Instagram at crafty_brewers_pod. You can also email us, craftybrewerspod@gmail.com, if you have a suggestion for a brewery that you'd like us to talk to, or if you are a brewer, because I've already gotten, I already got, somebody said, my son is a brewer. He's the owner of this brewery in Milwaukee. He'd love to talk to you. I was like, we will definitely be talking to him. So there you go. So that's the plug for that. You can go to the Rouse Center on Friday, see me there. Cody will be sleeping in like 3-minute increments for the foreseeable future. So
he says, as Cody yawns, as soon as I close this window, I'm just going to finish editing Wednesday's podcast, or the thing I'm supposed to release tomorrow for a separate project that I don't know if is going to be on time.
Good luck.
We'll see.
All right. You got anything else?
No, that's all. We're done. We can call it. Check out Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. And we'll see you next time. Same
bat time.
Same bat same channel. Bye.